There was a young woman that would wake up every morning to go for a run. Now, each morning she would wake up early enough as to where she would generally never see anybody else up, all but this one older woman. As she would run by her lake every day that was near her house, she would see this older woman that was sitting by the lake with this big metal cage by her side. And within that cage, as she would run by, she would notice these little tortoises that were sitting inside. And eventually, this got the best of her to the point as to where she stopped her run and walked up to the older woman and said, "You know, what is it, if you don't mind me asking, that you are doing out here every morning? You're like the only person I see getting up as early as I do." And the woman, just kind of looked down and looked at the tortoise and said, "Well, you see, these tortoises, as they grow up in these little ponds or these little lakes, they accumulate all this algae and all this scum on their shells as to where, you know, the more or the longer it stays on their shells, it starts to erode and break them apart as to where they're unable to start maintaining or producing as much heat or keeping in as much heat as they normally could. And so over a period of time, without having their shells cleaned or cleansed, they end up dying at a younger age." So the woman, continued to start scraping with her brush and showing her how she would take off the algae. And the young lady said, "Oh my gosh, and you do this every single morning?" And the lady had said, "Yeah, every morning I clean a few shells here or there." And, that's my small part in how I try to choose to change the world for the better. And the young lady just kind of thought to herself and said, "Well, how can this one turtle or this one shell that you are cleaning change the entire world? Or what difference does it make? 99% of other turtles out there aren't having people such as yourself sitting here and cleaning their shells the way you do. So how can your little part make that much of an impact?" And the older woman just kind of looked at the turtle and then looked back up at her and said, "Oh, my dear, if this turtle could talk, I bet it would have lots to say." She dropped it back into the water, and the young girl watched it swim away. And that is one area as to which we all need to be able to realize is that these little acts now build up over a period of time as to where the little things slowly but surely start making a bigger and bigger impact. And even though it's one turtle now, eventually it turns into 1 to 10 to 20 to however many that is, as to where those few turtles live longer and longer and start producing more and more. And those little things are what add up. And if we all come together and start making little changes at a time, over a period of time, those little changes are inevitably going to become huger and huger. And that's where it all begins. Even if we think the littlest things that we do doesn't have an impact or doesn't make a change within the world, we need to realize that it does. And it's on each and every one of us to be able to choose what kind of an impact we're going to make and how many little things we're going to do throughout the day to continue to stay positive and make a positive difference. That choice is on each and every one of us.